Kate Ann here from SPORTTAPE, and I am delighted to be sitting with Sian Knott from Physios in Sport. Welcome, Sian.
Thank you.
Nice to have you.
Yeah, delighted to be here.
We are so happy to be working with Physios in Sport this year, and it'd be great to get your viewpoint on how that partnership's working and your experience, and just to give people a little bit more about Physios in Sport and what you're all about.
Yeah, fantastic. And we're absolutely delighted to be working with you. I think it's a cornerstone of what we do as physios, obviously taping,
Yes.
Particularly physios who work in sport.
Definitely.
It's one of those skills that you've got to have. And having the right tape and quality tape is really, really important. So we're delighted to be working with you and delivering education really to the next group of physios coming through.
I think that was really important for us. You know, I was chatting with you, I was just saying that literally it was like 12 years ago, 2012, when we launched SPORTTAPE, that we attended a Physios in Sport conference. And to be here kind of 13 years later, we're in 2025 now, but to be here 13 years later and working hand in hand with you, we're really proud of that. And it's something we always wanted to do. And I suppose your kind of mission statement is, you know, to provide the next generation of physios with the best knowledge they can have and to get them equipped to do that job. And for us, we know that tape is a really important tool within that. So to be able to work with you, kind of educating the next generation of physios with really great product and really great education is something we're delighted to be doing.
Yeah.
So,
and Physios in Sport, we've got, you know, the education pathway, you know, which we developed. It wasn't around when I qualified, and it was something that we felt was really missing. You know, and part of that education pathway is that having taping skills is fundamental, which is why it's in our bronze pathway. And, you know, it's something that every physio has got to be able to do. And so we're really passionate about delivering that education early in people's careers, which is why, you know, we've been out delivering with students sort of in their sort of third years in particular, and newly qualified, and really trying to target so they've got that tool in their toolbox from the get-go.
this year you're kind of delivering, what is it, 12 courses?
Yeah.
So across the country?
Across the country.
Brilliant.
And we've had some brilliant feedback, you know, and we're starting to see, you know, those skills then transfer into the sports that those guys are working with, which is fantastic.
It'd be great to learn a little bit about you. How did you get involved with Physios in Sport then?
So when I first qualified a long time ago, I had gone to a conference, as you do, and it was one of those where, you know, in the bar one evening, they were looking for a South Wales regional rep at that point. And I thought, oh, all right, well, I'll give that a go. And that's how I got involved. That was probably 29 years ago.
Wow.
And in some capacity or other, I've been involved in the organisation since then. I've done numerous jobs. I'm currently the education chair for ACPSEM, which is why I'm really passionate about making sure that we have got, you know, the right structure in place for these guys when they're coming through, so that they've got the skill set to go out there and work and be able to deliver quality stuff.
So am I right in thinking it's a voluntary organisation? So for 29 years, you've given up your time and dedicated to this organisation.
Yeah, it's all
Amazing.
voluntary.
That's incredible.
And I think it's about, you know, part of it, I think, is because I and everybody else involved in Physios in Sport want to be able to give physios coming through better tools maybe, and you know, better pathways than what we had. And you know, that's being part of the drive to sort of set up the CPD pathway, but also it aligns with the International Federation of Sports Physiotherapy and their skills and what they require. And everything we do is driven by what their competencies are. And so it basically means then we give our physios the tools that they can go and work internationally. It's not just, you know, within the UK. Which is fantastic.
Amazing. So how can people become involved with Physios in Sport?
So anybody who's a physiotherapist can, you know, join up. It's a professional network. So it's what they call the special interest groups. And so any physiotherapist can sign up. There's an annual fee, but you get an awful lot for your annual fee. You know, we put on other free CPD events. So we've got some coming up now in the near future with other partners that we've got. And we've also got some paid events that, you know, people partake in, some courses, and we try and deliver those across the year. Some we do online, some we do face-to-face. So we try and have a real mix. We were having the conversation about sort of face-to-face and online. There's been a real shift. But I think in terms of physio skills, it's really important for us to do a lot of these face-to-face. They are hands-on skills. And as much as I think, there's opportunities to learn about some things online, when it's practical, I think that nothing beats a face-to-face.
Getting your hands on it. Yeah, getting hands on it.
Yeah, and having feedback, really, particularly when it comes to taping. If you're applying tape, it's really good to have somebody be able to feed back to you in terms of how you've done that and how you can improve the next time.
And also learning from each other, because I know when we run our taping courses here, it's just watching people. They'll come in at the beginning of the course and they'll feel a bit nervous, and by the end they'll have made friends with 19 new people. They'll have shared different experiences, different ways of taping, and it's just really lovely to see that kind of transfer of knowledge between people. Do you find that since COVID there's been less of a return to hands-on courses, or
I think there's twofold, really. During COVID there was a huge amount of free CPD available.
Yes, you're right.
Which is brilliant, and I get that. But actually, organisations like us, it's difficult to continue to offer everything to be free. And I think people are now, there's a cost of living crisis, and it's really difficult for people to make decisions about how they're spending their money. And so we're getting the balance right between charging for things and not charging for things is something we're finding challenging. But also the whole coming back face-to-face. People are still reluctant to come and do a face-to-face course. It's very slowly picking back up, but I think it's fundamental, and I think we've got to get that message out that actually practical hands-on delivery, you get far more for your buck. You can learn online, but I think the skills that you learn, the feedback that you get, and the knowledge transfer from everybody else, you can't beat it.
And even those social skills of dealing with your patient or your client, I suppose that's incredibly important, because I know from working with athletes and what we've done with SPORTTAPE and all the different organisations we work with, sometimes they'll say that even with your athletes or your patients, they just need that reassurance from somebody. So learning those vital skills of how to deal emotionally with athletes, teams, patients, that's a vital skill that you just won't get when you're learning online.
And when you're doing a taping course, for example, because you're practicing on other attendees, the feedback you're getting is from somebody who can say, actually, that feels really tight, or that doesn't.
And it's immediate.
Whereas if you're trying to do it online at home and you've got some tape and you're practicing with your partner, husband, wife, kids, whatever, they don't know what feedback to give you. Because they haven't got that understanding. So I think it's really, there's so much more that you get out of it if you attend a course.
So Sian, it'd be brilliant to learn a little bit more about your journey as a physiotherapist. So we know we've learned a bit more about you with Physios in Sport, but obviously you've had an incredible career path as well, and I think it'd be lovely to hear a bit about that. Okay,
well, I qualified in 1995 from Cardiff University. I went to work in the NHS, and I, really value the time I had working in the National Health Service. I worked across all the disciplines that physio are involved in, and I took something away from each of those, and I still use those skills to this day. So I do think that's, was really important foundation to my career. I got involved in sport immediately, so I used to, sort of do the weekend warrior stuff.
Did you play yourself, or was it just something you?
So I just physioed for a local rugby team, and I did that for about 7 years.
Which is a lot of people's career path. You do that voluntary thing on a weekend, give up your time.
And then I got involved working with the Welsh Rugby Sevens. So that's probably where I sort of started to go a little bit more, professional elite, sport, I suppose.
Exactly.
I did 2 years with the Welsh Sevens, going around.
Oh, lovely. Did you get on the circuit?
I did get on the circuit.
That is a dream job, I bet.
Brilliant. Hong Kong Sevens will always stand out there for me.
Awesome. I went to the South Africa one years ago to Georgetown. And it was incredible. So I can imagine that was a great job.
No, it was amazing. And when I was a junior physio in the NHS, one of my mentors was involved in Olympics and Commonwealth Games. And I was like, God, that'd be something really amazing, and it's sort of planted a seed really in my head that was something I maybe would like to do.
Yes.
And then I saw an advert for the 2002 Commonwealth Games in Manchester for Team Wales, and I applied because all of these things they're like jobs, so you apply for them.
Yep.
And so, yeah, Manchester was my first Commonwealth Games in 2002.
Amazing.
I've subsequently done every one since, so I've done 6 in total Commonwealth Games. And that led me on to wanting to do some work with the Olympics. And I applied for some Olympics. I got into Beijing. In 2008, I did a holding camp. I did London 2012 in the village. I did a Winter Olympics in Sochi 2014.
Great experience.
Summer Olympics in Rio 2016. And then I led the team in the Beijing Winter Olympics 2022. Incredible. And then was deputy head physio for Paris 24.
Wow. So out of all of them, what's been your favourite games?
Oh,
or is it hard to tell?
It's I think commies is different because it's Wales.
Yeah,
and
there's
it's
something
Welsh,
lovely about it being your country.
There is absolutely, and I think Glasgow is really special for me from commie games. Olympics, I think London 2012. Obviously, it was a home games.
I know, and
that's
the
always
atmosphere
hard
was incredible.
to beat. But actually, Paris was pretty special too. So Paris was up there for me. I've done multi-games, but I've worked in private practice. I worked in the Institute of Sport for sort of 16 years. And then my career took a slightly different path back in 2018. Yeah. And I decided that I would start a professional doctorate. So I've been working on that for the last 7.5 years.
And on that note, we've got to say congratulations to Sian, because she's literally just received. So it is. I should have actually introduced you as Dr. Sian Knott. So apologies about that, but I bet you're incredibly proud.
Yeah, I am really proud.
Yeah.
It's been, it was definitely a marathon.
Yes.
But
you've made the finish line.
Yeah, I have.
Brilliant.
And I've continued to work, throughout that. So I now sort of teach at Cardiff University, and I think that's where my passion for bringing through the next, sort of lot of physiotherapists maybe comes from as well, and it allows me to give back to the profession even more. Yeah. But I still work privately, and I'm involved with Welsh gymnastics. So
wow, do you ever stop?
No, I quite like being busy.
But you love it.
Yeah,
you can tell it's a real passion.
Yeah.
So do you think you've got more Olympic Games in you, or?
Oh, who knows?
Yeah.
It's
hard. I bet it's hard when the opportunity comes up not to do.
Yeah, I think I always sort of think I'll know when maybe it's time not to apply.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've got Glasgow Commonwealth Games next year, and then who knows after that.
Yeah. So you may hang around for LA.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Brilliant. You don't know what doors will open to you.
Exactly, and where life takes you. And what made you become a physiotherapist? What was your did you always want to do that?
No. My mum was a nurse.
So there's obviously caring in the family.
There was caring in the family. But I just knew I didn't want to be a nurse.
Yes.
And I loved sport. And then I started exploring how I could maybe combine the two things, and went and did some work experience. And it was from there really.
Brilliant. Yeah. So you knew pretty early on then?
Yeah, I think I was about 15 when
Amazing.
I sort of, but it's not an easy profession to get into. I wouldn't say that, I was pushed in school, and I'm not sure that the teachers believed that I had the
potential,
academic credentials to become a physio. But all I'd say to people is, if you've got a dream, follow it. Yeah. And if you're knocked back, then dust yourself off and, go again, because I didn't get in the first time and I reapplied.
And here you are now. Yeah. We've talked a bit about our partnership, and I'd like to touch on that again, about how proud and delighted we are to be working with you. As I said, it's like 12 years ago, we attended a conference with you guys, our first ever kind of conference as SPORTTAPE. In fact, I don't even think we had the actual branding then, but we had just worked with them, Team GB, for the Olympics, and then we launched the brand. So we were really delighted to kind of go to our first conference, targeting specifically sport. For us, I suppose for us, the most important thing about working with physios in sport is the fact that you are training and educating and bringing through the next generation of sports physiotherapists. And as we know, taping is an incredibly important tool within their kit bag. I know that Carl reached out to you, and we were incredibly happy that it just seemed to align, that you needed a tape supplier.
It was the perfect timing, really.
Yes.
Pre my involvement as education chair, there was a company in place, but that partnership wasn't particularly working. We were looking for something more mutual, I think, in terms of us being able to bring something to the table as well as it being reciprocated, and really looking to sort of develop our course. You know, we've had this sort of fundamental course for a long time, but actually we want to improve on that course and take it to the next level, and we could only do that with the help of you know, an organisation like yourself. And I think our values align, our vision. I think we're all on the same pathway in terms of, you know, the passion that we've all got in terms of wanting practitioners who are, you know, out there to be able to have the skills and to use the right tape, because sometimes you see people using the wrong tape, you know, and doing a really poor job. And, you know, in this day and age when things are televised or, you know, social media, once something's out there, it's not very nice, especially for maybe a junior physiotherapist. So really absolutely passionate, as you are, about making sure that people can go out there and do a really good job, and we want to give them the skills to do that.
Totally agree. And I think from our point of view, I know from the moment we met, because we, like, being really honest, we both met with the view of thinking, could this work? Will it work? And we both had the exact same viewpoint, that it had to be mutually beneficial. Like, anybody can give you tape and it can work. But for us, we wanted to make sure that, you know, we worked with you and that you were happy to use SPORTTAPE, that you're not just using it because we're helping you or we're supplying you. It had to be something that you genuinely believed was great quality, and vice versa. We wanted to know about your organisation to make sure that what we read was true and that you really are dedicated, and I think you touched on it brilliantly, and the fact is it aligned and we just clicked, and it just felt very natural for us to work together. And like I said, for us to be working with you to provide top class education and to be giving you a great tool, as in SPORTTAPE, for your students and your members to be able to tape, it just felt like it was meant to be. And hopefully it's a partnership that can work for a long time to come.
And you know, I mean, the feedback we've had from all the courses that have run so far have been absolutely amazing, in terms of not only the quality of the tape and, you know, the basic skills that we're teaching them. And I think that's the other thing, is that quite often with some of these courses, and sometimes some of the physios, they're really keen to look at learning the sexy taping techniques. Without wanting to learn the fundamentals. But we're really passionate about driving the fundamentals, because if you know the fundamentals, then you can apply that knowledge and do everything else quite easily. Whereas if you only learn the sort of sexy techniques, you actually don't understand, you know, the fundamental and basic skills that you need. And, you know, I think it's, I know that we're all on the same page with that. And I think it's just so important.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And I think it'd be great to see, you know, because currently we're offering sort of 12 courses around the country to students. And I suppose the next step for us is to see how we can open that up to the full membership. And we know that when we run our courses, they get filled up instantly. So there is an appetite there to learn, and there is an appetite to get that hands-on knowledge. So I think working with you, with Physios in Sport, it's going to be a wonderful opportunity for us both to be able to, first of all, educate more people hands-on with the right education platform, and also with the right tool, hopefully with SPORTTAPE, knowing that they've got great quality tape with unrivalled education. And they'll come out of that as better tapers and better clinicians at the end of the day.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree. And, you know, we're always looking as well to see how we can develop those courses further. So, you know, at the moment, all we've talked about really is those sort of fundamental and basic skills. But actually, you know, it's really good for all of us, including myself. You know, I've been working for a long time, but coming back and visiting some of the more complex taping and, you know, sometimes the more complex clinical cases that you see, and how you've got to think and adapt, and have courses or sessions where we sit with the physios in that same sort of calibre to discuss that. I think would be amazing, you know, and that's something I think that we could look at in the future.
Well, I think we're excited about other courses that we can offer, and I suppose for everybody there, it's like watch this space, because we obviously started with the core fundamental group, the students. Now we want to look at the wider membership, and I suppose if anybody has any ideas of other courses or other things they'd like, we're more than happy to look at that and work together to deliver what people need and what people want, really. If people have got any specifics, then come and tell us. Brilliant. And I suppose from your point of view with Physios in Sport, is there anything you'd like to, that we haven't touched on, that you'd like to highlight for potential new membership? Because I think it's vital, if you want to be a sports physio, you've got a pool and a network of incredible physiotherapists with brilliant experience.
Yeah.
So
I think it is difficult when, physios at the moment, I understand you've got to pay your registration fees, and joining a special network is, a professional network is an option, isn't it? It's something you don't have to do. But I would say the value is far wider than just your membership. The value comes in from the people that you meet through that group, through the opportunities to network in that group and the connections that you make. I think that's priceless. And, attending courses, conferences, those coffee conversations, they're
so important.
They're so important, but they're priceless.
Exactly.
And I think that's something we can't put money on.
No, and you definitely don't get that opportunity remotely.
No. So, I would encourage anybody who isn't a member to look us up and come and see what we offer. Yeah,
definitely. And obviously, we're just one of your partners. We offer taping. We work with you on the taping side, but there's a whole host of other benefits.
There is, there's a whole host. They're all listed on our website. I don't want to steal your thunder today.
And for us, it's all about promoting brilliant organisations like Physios in Sport. We're delighted to be working with you. We know the value that you've already added to us and what we're going to do together. And I suppose it's just the more members you have, the better, the bigger the pool, the more people can share, the bigger the opportunities moving forward.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Sian Knott. You are truly unstoppable, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.